Welcome to the panel of Future Retail through the Internet of Things. So let's start by a short introduction. So Avital, maybe you'll be the first one today.
Sure. Hi, I'm Avital Sterngold, General Manager of the Israel market at Fabric. Fabric is a company that enables on-demand fulfillment for everyone through usage of robotics and AI and machine learning. And I'm sure we'll get to talk more about our solutions, so I'm going to let us move forward.
Perfect. Michael from Trigo.
Hi, so I'm Michael Gabay. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Trigo. Trigo is the company that converts traditional supermarkets into autonomous. The first product that we're offering is the ability for shoppers to walk into the store and walk out without the need to do anything. They don't need to scan anything. The retailers don't need to do anything, but we're going to offer the market many other applications as well based on the technology.
Kobi from Moderator.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for asking me to join this panel. So I'm Kobi Bentkovski. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Moderator, and we are the Internet of Packaging company. So we are turning packages to become smart, making applications that work with the regular product that we daily use them, which called the consumer packaged goods, and generate data from customers to the brands that they are our customers. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Great to be here. So I'm Merkado. I'm heading the IoT for Trax. Trax is a company that actually does shelf digitization. So both for companies, manufacturers, so CPGs, and retailers. We are doing it through collection of data via mobile devices, robots, other smart sensors, and through recognition, computer vision, basically.
I'm Omri. I'm a general partner in Go Venture. We invest in Israel in early stage in deep tech. We're managing today $250 million. But the less interesting part in this discussion today. So first question to all the forums. So the retail industry has been in transition for years now, with the growth of e-commerce forcing retailers to find an appropriate balance between physical and digital channels. But then came COVID and accelerate this transition by orders of magnitude. How do you see your customer adapting to this crisis and planning for the post-COVID time? So maybe Trigo will start.
Great, thank you. So we are now focusing the grocery segment, and the grocery segment also during the COVID-19 is very physical. More than 95% of the revenues are coming during the COVID-19 from the physical stores. So the demand that was before the COVID-19 became even bigger because of the fact that supermarkets are now and grocery retailers are doing more revenues in the e-commerce and in the physical stores. So for us, the transition is that the demand that was very high before the COVID-19 for cashless and touchless solutions became much bigger.
Perfect. Avital, what are your thoughts about this question?
Sure. So obviously for us at Fabric enabling e-commerce, this is our golden time. So COVID, in a way, sort of the way we think about it, it pushed the clock forward 5 years. So if we look at estimations in terms of online penetration, for instance, in groceries, and I don't want to contradict what Michael is saying, but if we look at e-commerce penetration in groceries, we went from around sort of projections around 4%, and again, food categories in the US, up to over 12% in this past year. And the numbers are growing. And what we're also seeing, which is really interesting, is we're seeing at customer surveys that customers going online for the first time who've never, ever shopped online for various areas. And not only are they shopping online for the first time, but when they ask them whether they plan on continuing to shop online, sort of around 50% or so saying, yes, we're going to keep on using this method for shopping. So we're seeing a tectonic shift in the way that consumers are behaving, both in Israel, in the US, and actually around the world. And that's increasing the demand from the end consumers, which is then also forcing retailers to find solutions to make a scalable offering on e-commerce. And that's where we come into the picture.
Cool. Ido, we'll be happy to hear your thoughts on that.
Sure. So continue what Avital and Michael said. I mean, this is a transaction we see. So moving from the brick and mortar kind of into e-commerce, And one of the things that we believe that Trax can, assist in this process. So it's not a one-day kind of transition in a sense. So as we said, as Avital said, some of the shoppers utilize e-commerce for the first time. We believe that around 30% of them would keep using e-commerce. So taking this in account and taking the fact that for a retailer to switch from a physical store to an e-commerce enablement in a sense, would take time, and we show that some of the demand would still require a brick and mortar kind of stores, physical stores. So the idea that we can digitize the shelf in a sense, and every given moment to know what exists and what's not, what is compliance to the retailer target, will enable the retailers to go into kind of this transition mode between physical store picking by the consumer to e-commerce, or even, the combination of that. So ordering and picking, will allow and enable the retailer to make this transition in a better way, in a sense, more cost effective and faster.
Perfect. And Kobi, I would love to hear your thoughts on some of the main trends in the industry and how those have accelerated or maybe declined in COVID. So we're happy to hear your thoughts. You're on mute.
So as my partner has been said before, there is a change. So we are working with a lot of brands, and at the beginning of the COVID, we have been seeing that they have been struggling to find a way and how to sell to customers that are not coming to the stores. And at the beginning, on one hand, they had increasing in demand, mainly in things that we can see in vitamins and supplements. There was a huge increase in demand. And so they were struggling to how to maintain their customer, how to manufacture, and how to ship. And in the last few months, now we see there is a new buzzword that we see from brands. It's going digital. So all of the brands understand that they need to go digital. They need to do somehow to maintain the connection with their customer, with their existing customer that already bought from them by Amazon or by any other online or e-commerce solution. And now we see that beside of going digital to maintain their customer, they want and they understand that the personalization, the direct-to-customer and subscription is their next leap. So definitely there was, I think that Avital was saying, the acceleration of in between 2 to 5 years in between, let's say, 6 to 9 months, something like this. Yeah.
Perfect. I think all of us understand we're in good time for retail, right? It's all of us, all our families, all our friends. This is very easy to explain today. So one more question to all of you. So you are part of amazing companies, right? You are maybe the best companies in this domain in Israel. Can you help the people listening to us by sharing the main challenges your companies are facing this year? Did your companies recruit more people this year? Did your revenue increase in 2020? And what are your plans for next year? It will be very interesting for the crowd to listen to you. So Avital, maybe you will be the first one this time?
Sure, with pleasure. So I think it won't come as a surprise following the introduction of the previous question when I talk about our challenges, because I think for us at Fabric, probably the biggest challenge is sort of ramping up our production or introducing more and more MFCs and being able to create capabilities that support our retailers. So in terms of growth, you can see growth in every single metric. So our revenues grew over 200%. Our headcount grew by over 50%, both in Israel and in the US. And there's significant growth in terms of pipeline. It's basically all over, right? And we're sort of focusing on creating our infrastructure and ability to catch up and lead that growth. And I think if you think about sort of 2021, for us, I think there's two different angles to it. So one is here in Israel, where we're really focusing on deepening our proposition to our customers. So you're going to be seeing us work with more customers, introduce more capabilities, both upstream and downstream. That is beyond our micro-fulfillment center, which is the core product that we offer. And then in the US, you're going to see more, I would say, rather than deepening of or in addition to deepening of the proposition, you're going to be seeing much more expansion into additional geographies and retailers that are going to start benefiting from our services.
Perfect. Ido?
Sure. So it's not, as Avital said, it's not a surprise that a tech company around retailers in a good condition right now. So if I'm the bottom line is that we are going to hire globally actually, and the reason for that is that if I'm looking at the last couple of months during Corona, it was kind of a crazy time. So in the beginning, it was less, I would say, less stabilized supply and demand chain when everybody are in panic and everybody not sure that we'll be able to get what they need. And then we saw some interesting trends where consumers change not just the way that they are buying and what they are buying, in a sense. So we see value is more important to the consumer than actually a brand, in a sense. And if you're looking at cases where the value is playing a bigger role in decisions, this is where you probably need more, I would say, eyes on the shelves, and to make sure that you've got the right product, the right capacity of product, and to be very agile about it and very flexible about it, which is practically there is no way to do this unless you use technology in a rapid way. So this is so given all of these kind of new trends and new shoppers and how they behave, I would definitely see increase in demand for technology from that kind. So definitely a good focus for us.
Cool. Michael?
Yeah, so as I said in the beginning, we had with a very high demand before COVID-19. During the COVID-19, the demand became much, much higher. I can say that we are almost 100% more employees than what we had before the COVID-19. In the last few months, the company continued to grow very fast, and we are continuing to hire many employees because of the demand. During the last few months, we signed with few retailers that are top-tier retailers from the world. I can also give an example that one of the retailers, we never met them physically. It's something that I thought before the COVID-19 couldn't happen in this kind of enterprise deals, very large deals, but that's fact. So the company continued to grow and even faster than what it was before the COVID-19.
So one more question for you, but I hope there are enough Talpiyot graduate in Israel for Trigo, if you are growing in 1% every year, but never mind, let's discuss it after that. So can you discuss any changes to the value proposition you had to integrate with the limitation, of physical presence? You're doing hardware integration, even though your solution is software. How can you do that, right? From Israel, in England, in US, in APAC?
So the grocery retailers are essential businesses and also vendors. So we continue to, in that way, to work regularly and nothing changed. The supermarkets are opened and we can we can operate there freely, and also all of our vendors can operate freely. So in that case, it didn't change anything, and it's not interference in operating those countries.
Perfect, amazing. And Kobi, you are trying to have consumable live up to the interactive expectation of the new generation of digital native. Can you tell us a bit more about your vision in this domain?
Yeah, definitely. So as we all know, all the products around us are becoming smart, and the only things that was not changed in the last, we think in the last century, is the product themselves. So we're still buying, regular bottles or regular packages. They are not connected. They are not telling us, for example, how much to take, when to consume, and reorder themselves. So this is something that we are changing, and we see in the last few years that also the brands are now more listening and open to this kind of things. Lately, we announced that we have some kind of partnership with Amazon, mainly on the replenished products. So think about the opportunities for brands that on day one, they are, filling bottles, putting them on Trax, and then they ship to the stores or put it on the shelves. And to the point that now their product is starting to generate data. They know who are the customer. They have a direct-to-customer connection. And the products, when they are going to run out, they automatically replenish themselves from Amazon and with others that we are working. So this is a really big change that is now moving in the industry. And as we said before, the epidemic changes dramatically at this point.
Perfect. And Amazon is all around this discussion, and I think around all of us in many aspects. So Avital, how do you help your customers stay relevant and competitive with the high bar of Amazon setting and continuously raising?
Fantastic question. And I think in that respect, we're actually one of the few, I'm not sure if one of the few people, but we're definitely one of the players that enjoy most the ripple effects of Amazon raising the bar. So the more Amazon raised the bar in terms of customer expectations, the more the rest of the world has to catch up. And we are one of the only viable solutions in the market that actually let them not just catch up with Amazon, but go a step forward. Because what we do is we do micro-fulfillment centers. So instead of looking at the old paradigm of large robotic warehouses, Amazon style, that sit miles and miles outside of the city, what we do is we do micro-fulfillment centers at the heart of the city, a couple of miles from the end customers, and that transforms the abilities of the offerings that retailers can give their customers. So we enable on-demand fulfillment, we enable same day, we enable next day, and that is something that's just fundamentally different in the DNA of the sort of distributed model that we bring to the world. And in that respect, sort of the more Amazon sets the bar, the more we benefit and the more our offering is already there in terms of what customers are acquiring.
Cool. And Ido, at the end of the day, you do magic with consumer data. What types of behavioral changes were you able to identify since the outbreak?
Thank you. So as we said, it's split into two. One is how the consumers are buying, and second, what they are buying. So how they're buying relates to the way that they are buying more through e-commerce channels, direct channels. Second, they are buying more in bulks. So if they are getting into the store or ordering, they would order more more products of the same brand or of the same category. So this is practically how they are buying. And as we outlined before, and kind of even what my friends here said, this is where we can enhance and allow retailers to kind of make this transition in a better way. The second is what they are buying, and I think we talked about it in the previous questions. But it all comes to the value they are trying to get out of the product. So they are trying to maximize the the value versus the brand in a sense. One additional thing we observed is that consumers, shoppers, will now these days lean more toward private brands. So this is where, as it seems, you'll find the quality and the price and the value. And this is also where Trax get in and make allowing the retailer to make the right decisions according to the supply chain, to demand fulfilling, share of the shelf, and allow it to be dynamic in a sense.
Perfect. And Kobi, as you are an IoT company, do you see either market trends or investment in IoT technology by the brand you're working with? Any changes you can elaborate with this forum and the crowd?
Yes, definitely. So it's quite clear that brands are now starting the IoT and the connection with the customer is becoming something that is relevant. So you can see the innovation manager and the marketing and the sales starting to talk about IoT and how we get data. Because again, Amazon is raising the bar as much as Amazon is raising the bar, and the other understand that data is the new oil. It's an old sentence, and they need the data. They need to know who is the customer, because otherwise the winner takes it all. So we see a lot of investment in IoT. One of them is Amazon, which is quite clear. They're putting more and more products which are the Echo like in the house. And one of the things that the industry was struggling a lot of time is how to grab the data from products that are in the house, and Amazon is starting to solve this. So the Echo, you can already see in Amazon website for developers, the Echo is starting to be some kind of router. And on the other side, you can see the 4G and the 5G. They have specific categories for IoT, and the telcos are starting to implement this kind of way that there would be a gateway to be lower cost, and the data can go and you can integrate it into daily use product. So yeah, definitely the trend is accelerating, and the market is starting to accept the IoT technology.
Yeah, Echo is amazing. I've been in a reInvent last year when we can go to Vegas, and they spend so much money around Echo and so much money in investment in the ecosystem of Echo. So yeah. I like you believe in that. So Michael,
so if you have been in Vegas, so you saw that we are one of the major part of the Echo and the Amazon booth in Vegas last year, and the last conference, I think it was face-to-face.
But after 1 year at home, I don't remember Vegas anymore. So so this time we'll be reinvent from you, but never mind. So Michael, is the value you're offering to your customers have changed due to the pandemic?
Yes, I think that first of all, the customers of our customers, the shoppers, value more sleek experience, that you can just walk in and walk out without gathering together in the checkout lines near to one to each other. So I think, first of all, when the shoppers value more what we do, then our customers, the retailers, value much more than what we do, and we can offer them. Also, all over the world, there's the limitation of the amount of people that can go inside the supermarket in a given time. And when many people gather together near to the cash registers, then also people can go inside the store. So retailers are losing revenues because of the fact that people can't go inside the stores. So yeah, the COVID-19 makes there is an effect that the value for the solution is higher now because of those things.
Yeah, after listening to all of you, I think that COVID was a good thing to the world. So, but at least for you, it's good. So it's No, I'm joking.
We have the lack. I think that it makes the demand for what we do bigger. But of course, it's
So Ido, and I will be happy that you will elaborate a bit. So, how did the fact that Walmart stopped working with Bossa Nova and came back to work with human affect Trax vision, when you always claim that you will take benefit of technology to reduce cost and manual work of humans? So I'm not sure everybody in the crowd know what happened. So if you can give some background and you're thinking about it, it will be great.
Sure. So first of all, Bossa Nova, just kind of to introduce, the company is a robotic company that provide shelf digitization services. So think of similar to what Trax kind of service. So think of availability, if I'm missing something on the shelf, if there is a issue with a price or it's not compliant to the price it should be per this product, and how the chef behaves in a sense. So Bossanova was the main customer for Bossanova was Walmart. And I would start with the fact that it's not really a surprise to Trax that this was kind of terminated. And as you said, I mean, Walmart are now going to move, so they compare the human performances into the AI robotics in this case performances. So just as a note, manual gap scan. So this is where somebody goes into the shelf and scan for gaps to issue replenishment instructions. Is around the accuracy of performances. Accuracy of such a process is around 75%. So this indicates to us that Bossanova performances was relatively low. And this kind of indicates two things. One is noise. So think of an adaptation rate of a technology. If you create noise, false alarms, you'll get some issues with how the store associate treat this data and actually using this technology. So this is one. The second thing is when you are operating in around 70-75% accuracy rate, it prevents you from using or utilizing this data. And as Kobi said, data is the new oil. Utilizing this data for other things like, utilizing this data for supply chain automatic processes and things like that. So if you've got so many errors, then you get bad results. So this is kind of the one thing, the one aspect as we see it, the accuracy of this data or the performances of the product. The second thing is the fact that they are utilizing robot as a collection method and only robot. So in a sense, they are a robotic company, and it's kind of makes me a little bit happy to say that when we thought about it 2 years ago, we said that we want to be agnostic to the collection. We are an AI company that provides and generates insights, actionable insights. And we want to make sure that the collection is a tool for us to collect this data. So robots, being a robot has some limitations, the collection rate, how many times you can scan the store, interaction with customers, size of the stores. This is where we see that having multiple collection methods, multiple IoT devices would be a gain for us. And this is where you'll see our smart shelf cameras, ceiling mounted cameras, and obviously robots.
Perfect. Avital, so COVID-19 created an abundance of free commercial space in city centers with significant ramp up in the amount of deliveries. Do you see this as an opportunity to Fabric? Maybe to increase your locations in the US, in other places?
Sure. So you can guess what my response to this question is going to be. But I want to make a comment about something you said before, and then I'm going to react to this, because you were talking about how if you listen to what everyone's saying here, like COVID's the best thing that happened to us. And I don't disagree with that statement, but I do want to mention, I think that probably most companies here did experience a period of a couple of months where like the whole world was like, wait, what's going to happen? How's this going to impact the fundraising environment? How's this going to impact the deals when retailers need to make large commitments, etc.? So I think there were sort of two phases to this, right? There was the initial phase of confusion and trying to make sense of this. And then there was the go run phase of it. So that is just one thing I wanted to mention, because I think it's important to remember the first phase when we talk about the second phase. And then the second thing is to your actual question about the spaces. And this is something it's not new to COVID, and it's not new to the pandemic. So the trend of big box retailers and department stores shutting down and being replaced by e-commerce is a trend that's been going on for years now. It's been accelerated, but it's going on for years. And therefore, at the heart of our solution has always been the idea of getting into flexible spaces. So for instance, one of our first micro-fulfillment centers is in Tel Aviv, in the Kol Bo Shalom Tower, in the basement, in what's essentially used to be a parking lot, right? So we took a parking lot, we converted it into a micro-fulfillment center that offers thousands of items a day, grocery items. In Israel, we work with Rami Levy in that site. So that is in the heart of what we do. And then when we think about the context of where we're living in today, where there is a lot of underutilized real estate, whether we're going from malls to parking lots, that is exactly the bread and butter of what we do and what we can offer and are taking advantage of. And again, this is not a US specific trend. It's not an Israel specific trend. It's very much a global trend from what we're seeing.
Cool. So, and almost last question to everybody. So Alibaba coined the term nude retail to describe how taking the power of the digitization and big data beyond current application in e-commerce can create new dynamics between consumers, products, wholesalers, and retailers in the physical commerce space. But that was pre-COVID definition. So how will you define the new retail in next year, 2021? Hopefully with Biden and no Corona. So maybe Kobi will start this time.
I didn't know that we are the science fiction one. No COVID. It looks a science fiction session. But yeah, definitely there is a big change. I think that Avital and also I can say that all of my colleagues here is saying the exact thing. I think that Ido was saying that I read yesterday about that people don't like to be in the stores. They in the same aisle. They with a robot. So so this is one of the things. So on one side, it looks that people will going to go out from stores. So the e-commerce is going to boom. We are working with brands. We see numbers. So the numbers are huge. So things that people were supposed to go to store and to buy are now becoming online. People are going, and this is something for Michael, that people are going into store and coming into store and want to go as fast as much go outside. So they only pick what they need. They don't have time to look on new products and new things and even connect between the advertising that they saw on TV to the new product that is on the shelf. So there are definitely new challenges. And I think that we are going to think that the world is going to think that something like very much like Alibaba. So many retailers will have their a shop in somewhere or another that they can be easily move into e-commerce. There will be a small fulfillment centers like Avital was describing, which will supply the packages and don't need to wait 3 months to Alibaba to ship the package. And everything is going to move to e-commerce. So people, even not the Z generation or the Y generation, even more elderly people that needs to stay at home, starting to understand that packages or the shop from supermarket can come without going into the supermarket. This is something that is going to stay.
Cool. Michael, what are your insights on that?
Yes, for us, new retail is a complete fusion between the e-commerce user to the physical user. I mean, it's going to be the same app and exactly the same user and very similar data. The wisdom of the data that retailers today have in the e-commerce, they will have the same thing in the physical stores. So that is the first thing, and also their ability to use the data for many different applications, operating applications, analytic applications, marketing applications, and in all come from the ability to really understand everything that happens inside the store. So this is how we see the new retail, and I think it's pretty much similar to what Kma from Alibaba wrote in his article.
Cool. Ido?
Yeah, so not much to add. I completely agree with both Kobi and Michael. We see kind of the physical store and the digital store boundaries kind of disappearing in a sense, given the technology and what you can do there. So from that aspect, not much to add. Maybe one thing I will add that Alibaba, what I see in what they're doing and how they're going to treat this world is not just the retailer and the consumer. It's also how they are connecting all the dots. So the supplier, the manufacturer, the CPGs, the retailers, the fulfillment centers, and the consumer. So everything to me would enhance. So it kind of the COVID to me probably was some kind of a steroids to this transition because the need is there. Connecting different entities, different stakeholders was always been there, but now the pain is greater given all the constraints that we've talked about during this last minutes.
Perfect. So Avital, same question, but two more. One, do you think that we can have in a few years from now a unicorn in retail domain in Israel? I think it's about time. One of you maybe is close, but I don't know the numbers, but this is one. And second, if you have any summary that you want to say, so feel free to add.
Sure. So I'll start with the question that was asked before, because everyone talked about the connectivity between the online and offline and omni-channel strategy and data, etc. I think from my perspective, yes, obviously it's all connected, but the question that's really coming up strongly is what is the role of the offline store as people are shifting away from it? And I think it's really, really early to herald the death of the offline format, because that's clearly not the case, but it is reinventing itself. And I think there's still a lot to be seen and learned in terms of where it goes, several directions that we know it goes. And some of them were mentioned here, but not all. One is indeed around the click and collect and adding another node to the logistics chain. It's a bit of an expensive node, right? Because these are usually prime real estate. But that is one part which the offline world is taking on. Another thing that we're seeing, especially in grocery with our customers that work with us on a platform mode, so basically leasing our technology, they go for hybrid models. So they'll have a micro-fulfillment center within a grocery store where they focus on giving customers a certain experience offline in the store, and then the sort of commodities get through the micro-fulfillment center, the fast movers, etc. So there's different type of attempt at building that hybrid model that gives more meaning into that offline store or offline location. But I think it's pretty early to say that this has been figured out, because it sounded a little bit from the conversation like everyone's figured it out, it's all the same data, etc. And I think folks are still trying to figure out what does that mean to that world. So that's to the first question. To the second question about the unicorn, we're working really hard on it. And I'm pretty sure there are other people around the table as well. So no doubt, I think Israel's role in retail tech overall has been growing over the last few years, and we're seeing more and more meaningful impact. And it really comes up, I think, actually at a place where Israel really shines, right? Because we can bring that sort of innovative edge, the tech, to what used to be a bit of an old school world that's learning to innovate itself. And I think this is a great place where Israel can be more and more relevant. Another area where we're more and more relevant is as logistics and supply chain and last mile and all of the sort of brain behind making this magic work is taking a more dominant role. Again, Israel is playing a role in here. So absolutely. And in terms of summary, I think we're all different companies that are enjoying the same trends and helping influence the same trends, which is making us smarter so that we can end up giving a better value proposition both to the end consumers and to the retailers that we work with in order to support that. So I think it's quite a privilege to be here with all of you, and thank you very much.
And Michael, I know that I won't like your answer, but because we as Grove missed the opportunity to invest in Trigo, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, as Avital said, we're working very hard to continue expand the company. I think that there is a potential here to really build big businesses in Israel to serve retailers all over the world. In our case, it's right now tier 1 retailers, and I think the opportunity is huge. And Israel is coming with a very unique offering with the cutting edge technology. So this is what we are. This is what I think most of the Israeli companies this is where they're good. I hope to be one of your anti-portfolio unicorns next few years.
Yeah, I guess that's what will happen. So, Kobi, and it's amazing to see the progress of Water.io. We met in the past many times, and what do you think? And summary notes from your point of view.
I think first that it's very impressive that the retail tech in Israel is developing. So I can say that we are on road for about a little bit more than 4 years. And at the beginning, it was retail tech is only done in the US. So definitely, it's amazing, and it's great to see brands like we are here in this panel and others that are not in this panel that are moving and bringing companies and bringing brands and bringing retailers to Israel and supporting this kind of industry and leading even this kind of industry. And this is amazing. I can see that I think, as you mentioned, that there are changes due to COVID. So definitely there are changes due to COVID. So we are going to see, I think, 2021, this will be a major change in the retail industry, and the companies like us and others that are in the business of one is the retailers, and the other one is the brands, things are going to change. So definitely you can see the customers are changing, the market is changing, and also the technology will win. So it's always like this. So I think it's a good line to end with.
Thank you.
Technology will win.
Yeah, hopefully. And Ido, you are last but not least, so happy to hear your thought.
So from a unicorn perspective, Trax, unfortunately, it's not an Israeli company; it's a Singaporean one. So it was kind of recognized as a unicorn. So happy to be part of that. But as my colleagues said, we are looking at a bright future in a sense. Technology will win for sure. And COVID, as far as we see, is expediting these trends and these changes and adaptation, which is relatively a kind of slow adapting market by definition almost. So even if we were recognized as a unicorn, I still see growth and future and good future, kind of given the COVID situation and everything around it. So that's for that. On top of that, the closing remarks, I'm totally with Avital here. I think that there are a lot of companies here in Israel that can solve the problems and the pains retailer and consumer have in a good, innovative way that everybody will benefit. All the industry will benefit in the end. So happy to be here with you guys, and I think it's amazing.
So Kobi, Michael, Avital, Ido, thank you very much. Hope that next year we'll go back to old normal and meet in conferences and not only in a Zoom, webinar, whatever. It will be much nicer, but thank you very much, and hope you had a good time, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care.